Hey Peter, alright, so here is your past life spread. So what we're going to do is look at where you were, what you did with the majority of your time there, an important day with relationships and feelings, another important day with relationships and feelings, and we're going to go to the death card and the lesson learned, and we'll get hints of time throughout, okay? So all I'm going to do is relay to you the images and impressions that are already coming through, and your job is going to be to try to make connections where you can based off what comes through in your current life, and I'll try to help however I can too. Just keep in mind there are a couple ways to make connections: direct, opposite. Direct connections are when things that come through directly correlate with your life. Opposite is when your soul has already learned something here, so it comes back to experience something completely different. So I'm sure there'll be a time where I'll point it out. All right, so let's start. Sorry, just making sure you can see all that. Okay. So where we're going is the Asia card. So this card is the Asia card. Obviously, there's a lot to cover there. What this specifically feels like is like a hub, or like a very like predominant city, like a hustle bustle. Almost like I want to say Tokyo. So we'll go with that because that is really what it feels like we're being pulled to. And this is we're looking at a male aspect of you, and it really doesn't matter what gender. It's just it's important you know that you can be any gender. And we're looking at a male aspect of you, and it feels like there's something about this male aspect that the physicality can be taken somewhat, like it can be mistaken almost feminine, because we're looking at a physicality here that is lithe. The word lithe, you know, like kind of lanky, but I wouldn't say lanky because it feels like this person is not like very tall, just like average height, but lithe, like a dancer body, kind of. But it's almost like, honestly, what was coming through was the idea of that we might be looking at a dancer here. It's feeling like that the more I talk now. The thing that that particularly came through with this person was the fact that there was a lot of dark hair for this person, like a lot of dark hair, as in like grown out so that it can be styled. It does feel like for performance purposes, even if it's not performance in front of an audience, it's almost like a performance for society, but not fake performance, more like this is someone that likes to style himself. And what was coming through is also the idea this man is very styled in general. Specifically, the imagery coming through is him wearing white, like a not like a white suit, but like white. Okay, it's kind of like, it looks like a white tracksuit almost, but it's high style, like fashionable. So we're also feeling, this also feels like we're looking at more modern times, like could be potentially like your last lifetime kind of deal. Might not be, you know, but it does feel like we're looking at the 21st century kind of thing. And to give a timeline, I want to say what was coming through already, I know this is just like a bunch of stuff coming through already, it feels like this is almost like, I want to say like right before Elvis, if that makes sense. So I honestly don't know the actual years of that, but if you know it or Google it, it'd be like right before Elvis came out to the world kind of thing. But we're being pulled to Asia, which Tokyo. Okay, so let's start making some connections here. So it can be as random as you might be someone that has always wanted to go to vacation in Tokyo, or maybe you've been there and you love it, and maybe you've seen photos and it pulls at you a certain way, emotionally pulls at you. It could be that you love Tokyo, so it's Japan, so the culture there, the food, the sights, the language, whatever it might be about Tokyo, and it has a very specific aesthetic, and also the hustle bustle of the city. So if you're someone that likes the idea, like almost like inspiration wise or motivation wise, the hustle bustle of a city, like if you've ever had the idea of like or maybe it's like I prefer, or the idea of, I would like to, you know, have like an apartment overlooking the city where I can just see all the people and see the hustle bustle of the world below me kind of thing, or be amongst that. That would be a connection. Now here is where we can make an opposite connection, where this person felt very much like in the middle of a lot going on. Like again, like in this, like a city person, basically. We'll just say he feels like a city person. Oh, and very like social and very like, it's interesting. It's like this person we're looking at has two personas. We have someone who's like out and about, very social, whatever, and then the image of him at home when he's alone, he's very quiet and almost like introverted at home, but once he steps out in his garb, in his like fashion and his style, he becomes someone that would be very approachable and talk among people or like be around people that would be like him. So it's not like he's faking anything, it just feels like he plays with different aspects of his personality and he's good at it and he enjoys it. He enjoys like, it's like discovering, like, not discovering himself, but more like displaying different aspects of himself. He finds it interesting that he can be different. He can be different. He doesn't just have to be one thing. But anyway, okay, so connection. So the opposite connection would be to the city is if you're someone that likes it quiet and you like suburbs and you like kind of just being like, you know, like in the maybe the country or somewhere pretty and quiet, you know what I mean? Like that would be an opposite connection because we're looking at a hustle bustle city kind of person. But it feels almost like to be inspired or motivated. Here's the thing too, if you find that you are lacking motivation or inspiration, I would definitely try, if you can't get into like a city and walk around, obviously there's, you know, COVID, so maybe be careful. It maybe just like you can pull up things on YouTube where it has like background noise, and some people like the background noise of like water, raindrops on the window, but you might like the background noise of like a busy city, you know, just like a busy city. Like I don't know how to say it. Like if you are lacking motivation, inspiration, just can't seem to like get the juices flowing kind of thing, I would say, and I've never recommended this one before, but I would try it. I would try pulling up like a YouTube video of background noise in the city and see what happens. Quite frankly, background noise in Tokyo City. Like be specific and just try, I don't know, just try it. It sounds interesting to me, but that's what's coming through. And let's see, so we're looking at that, we're looking at this. It could be, a connection could be as simple as like the idea of, do you like to style your hair? Do you like to style, do you like fashion? Do you like, even if you don't dress up, I mean, maybe you do, like, but even if you don't, do you still have an eye for it? Do you notice it when someone is put together very well? Do you appreciate it? That's what it is here, is like a appreciation for style and detail and put togetherness, I guess, aesthetically, if that makes sense, for fashion. So we are looking at someone who's kind of, I guess what you would say is fashion forward, right? So in this lifetime, fashion forward for you can mean either one, the same thing, direct connection, that you would be fashion forward. It could be even something like maybe you like collecting a specific kind of boot. You know what I mean? Like it just has to do with fashion. On the other hand, the opposite connection would be in this life if you're just like, I don't care, I just want to take it easy and not care about what I look like, you know what I mean? So that kind of thing. So okay, so we're gonna keep going. Okay, so keep making connections where you can with this card. We're gonna go to the next card here, and this is the teacher card. So the teacher card is what you do with the majority of your time, and this, I want to say honestly, what's coming through is this dance thing. I feel like you're like a dance instructor. Let's see what's, it's a dance instructor, and it feels almost like a ballroom style type of dancing that is predominant in what you are teaching. I wouldn't say that's the only style, but they're showing me a dance room. If you've ever seen a dance room where it's wooden floors and a mirror kind of thing, maybe even a bar, like, you know, and like the bars along the mirror, and it's like you're teaching people dance moves, dance techniques, even like, let's see what's going on. Yeah. Okay, yeah, so it's just, it feels like ball, and then there's something about teaching, it's like the wedding dance, like dances for particular occasions. So, and the thing is there's something, sorry about this, the pause is that it's particular dancing, I don't know what it's called, and it would be particular also to this, hold on. Okay, wait. Hold on. Okay, so it's either dancing in this region, like I'm not aware of the dances of this region of this time, or it's almost like I want to say we're looking at a non-Asian person having moved to Tokyo and bringing the style of dance from the Western style over to Tokyo and teaching it there. So, okay. So that's just something else coming through. I don't know why it's coming through. If you connect with that in any way about the idea of teaching abroad, maybe you wanted to teach abroad when you in your youth, or maybe you do teach abroad, or maybe you're thinking about going and teaching abroad. This can also be about just business abroad. If you find that you easily commute when you like travel, commute kind of thing for work, if you've done that or you still do that. If that's ever intrigued you before, because that's what it feels like. And it's like you're a real character here. Like this aspect of you is a real character. I might even want to say it's flamboyant, possibly. It's not like full on coming out as like a sexual identity of any kind, but we're looking at kind of a character that is flamboyant, like very... Maybe it's just that it's like extroverted, but there's like gesture, like there's gestures and the voice and the tone and the character. Like this person has a lot of character. This is someone that people love to be around. So in your current life, if you find that you not draw attention, but like you are good at keeping a conversation going amongst a group of people, if you're able to, it's not even like having a commanding presence, it's more like just being able to maneuver through a conversation of many people and being able to like almost like multitask in a conversation. That would be direct if you can relate with that, if you have a handle on that, and because that's a gift to have. Like that's a social gift that a lot of people don't have. So if you notice that about yourself, that'd be a direct connection. The opposite connection would be if you're, more shy or don't really like to converse in conversations, or maybe you're more reserved, And if that's the case, then that would be the opposite connection. But this would be coming through to let you know that you're capable of expanding your social terrain, I guess, if you were to want that. Like if you were more on the reserve side and you're like, man, I wish I was, able to just like kind of walk into a room and talk to anybody, just know that that's part of your energy anyway. And you can tap into that if you just trust that it's there. It'll kind of come up and take over if you let it without thinking too hard, I guess, like not dwelling on it, not overthinking it kind of thing. Almost like what's coming through is like almost like if you find that you have really any insecurities on a social level at all, it's likely that you're overthinking it. And it's the kind of thing where it's almost like don't care so much. Like that's what it is like if there's anything like that, the message would be just try not to care so much, don't overthink it, and just go and go for it and try, just try, like whatever. And I know that's kind of hard if like let's say there is an issue and it's been happening for years and you're uncomfortable. It's because you're patterning yourself over the years that, oh, I can't do this, or maybe even like, oh, I sound a certain way, or I look a certain way, or I feel a certain way, or whatever it might be. It's almost like don't judge yourself. No one else is. If you feel like people are judging you, it's a projection. It's like if you let go of self-judgment, then there's no one's opinion that matters. Really. Like, no one's opinion matters when it comes to that. So it's like, it's almost like you create an illusion of judgment if this speaks to you. So anything I'm saying, by the way, it has to resonate with you. If it doesn't resonate with you, that's perfectly fine. Just tuck it in the back of your mind for, later time. But that's just what's coming through here. So let's see, the teacher. Okay, so keep making connections where you can with this teacher card. The dance thing's coming through almost like yeah, whether or not you are connecting with the idea of dance, I mean, you could be a really good dancer or enjoy the idea of dancing or like watching dancing. At the same time, the opposite could be like you have two left feet and you don't know why you're listening to someone telling you that you're a dance instructor, you know? But if that's the case, if it's the opposite where you're like, I can't dance for the life of me, then this would just be a message more than anything to make sure that you are at least taking care of yourself physically. So if you've been putting off exercise or putting off movement in your life, this would be a message that could be very important for you to partake in the health of your body right now physically. If more like for preventative care rather than later on something happens and you might have been like, man, I wish I took care of my body, and you know, maybe did weightlifting or cardio or whatever you have to do, get your heart pumping, get yourself, you know, get sweating a little bit. You'll thank yourself for it later. So this is almost like a feeling. So this is almost like a feeling of hindsight, like a message of hindsight. Like, don't let it get to that place where you know you could have done something before to prevent this, you know, like that kind of thing. It's not like a warning or anything. It's just like hey, if you can, let's start doing stuff now. Like, especially if you've been thinking about it, or it's been on your mind, or it was mentioned recently, or, you know, that kind of thing. Take that as like validation that it is time to try something, you know. And heck, if you don't dance, maybe you want to take a dance class, who knows. Yeah, so keep making connections where you can. Let's go to the first important day. So this is the Enlightenment card. I think I just got this for the last reading too. And the Enlightenment card is like an aha moment, leveling up kind of thing. The relationship is the soul group card. So this is usually when we see people come in and out of our lives over lifetimes. They're part of our soul family, our soul group. We learn lessons from them. A lot of times there are like best buddies, best friends in life, but excuse me, they can also be family, you know. So the feeling is content. So what's coming through here is the idea that this right here is kind of like, it's like an aha moment that you realize that you have built a life here, and it's almost like you did it yourself, like a self-starter, because it's almost like you're the first in your family, or you're the first, yeah, like the first in your family to, like, I want to say, like, strike out on your own, but in a way that is, strike out on your own in character, we'll say. In character as well, like, the lifestyle, that's what it is. You're the first to move forward into a lifestyle that is unlike anyone in your family. So it's almost like, I want to say, you come from a very reserved family, or maybe even a family that's very religious, or maybe a family that's just like, it's the kind of thing where it feels like it's like you are a miner's son. Like, your father worked in the mines and you're like, oh, no, 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 no. And you like go out and you're like, this is who I am. It's almost like you really take responsibility for your own life, and that is precious. And I want to say that this would be coming through, if for anything, would be a message for you that you are responsible for your life and for everything that happens, because it's like you make the choices, and that lays out the path of what happens, you know, along the way. So I want to say more than anything is, like, if you want something in your life, you need to understand that you are the only one that can bring it about. So if there's something you have put off, let's say you've always wanted to write a book, you need to write. You know, like, if you've always wanted to start a certain business, go file the paperwork. Like, now, it feels like now is the time to do the thing that is either on your mind or used to be on your mind, that a dream you might have let go of, or even a dream you've been like maybe ruminating over for a while, whatever it might be. If there is an idea that is just like kind of just like growing in you, but you're not doing anything with it, like, that idea, you have to understand, you are given ideas for a purpose. Like, imagine that these ideas that you get, like, and it's not just like a little idea here. When I'm talking about the idea is like a download of a complete and full idea, maybe not every single detail, but like from start to finish, whether it's a whole book idea or a whole business idea, that kind of thing. Imagine like the universe is like plopping this idea in your head, and they're like, we are giving you this idea because you are capable of doing this, and this is written into your soul life plan that you want to do this. It's almost like, take it seriously, you know, like, don't write it off. Don't, even if it's something that you never thought would be something you'd be interested in, or if it's something that you think others might think is silly, don't be the one to judge your own what's in your mind. Like, you have to be your best friend. You have to be your biggest, I guess, cheerleader, so to speak. So the card of contentedness comes up because he's almost like, this is a time of like basking in the joy, the joyous knowledge that he made the right decision to move forward with trusting who he is and following the path of who he is, and not following the path of his parents, so to speak, if that makes sense. So a message too of making sure that if you desire to forge your path in a certain way, no matter where you are in life, how old are you, how old you are, anything like that, just knock those factors away because they don't matter. If that is an idea, if you have an idea that will forge a path, and it feels good and right in your heart and soul, you need to follow that, you know? And you'd probably be surprised by how many people would support you, quite frankly. And that's also part of the soul group too, because there are people placed in your path that are here to encourage you and rally around you as you move towards any of your dreams or goals. And this also speaks to the fact that this aspect of you had to move away from toxic people and even like cut ties of family in order to live a more fulfilling, contented life. And it's almost like, you know, you create your family. Your friends become your family, the ones that rally around you, that encourage you, that speak your language, kind of thing. So this would also be a message to make sure that you're not surrounding yourself with people or associating with people or spending your time or energy thinking about or spending time with people like in person or on the phone, kind of thing even, that are bringing you down, make you feel bad about yourself, make you doubt yourself, that are discouraging, you know, that are kind of like, you know, not encouraging of spreading your wings and stepping outside of the box, if that makes sense. So keep that in mind. This person is very creative, so that tells me that there is creativity within you as well. So keep making connections where you can with this day. We're going to move to the next important day. So here we have the so long farewell until we meet again card. It indicates somebody's leaving, and this is the friends card. And the feeling here is held back. The held back feeling. So we're seeing what's going on. Okay. Sorry, give me a minute. There is something that is pulling you out of this world. And I don't know if it's permanent or temporary, but at least temporarily you have to leave. And it feels like it's the kind of thing where borders will be closing and you have to go. It's kind of like what's going, like you have a limited amount of time, and it is almost like you're there on a visa and you have to go. And I don't know how it worked back then. That time period, I don't know the exact dates, but I told you like around when I don't know when the Elvis thing was happening, but if there was a war around that time, that's what this would feel like. So what I'd like for you to do is like Google if Japan like closed the border, like if there was a war where I mean, just go with Japan and maybe they kicked out Americans, or people had to go home, or your visa was running out, or whatever it was, but you had to retreat, and you had to leave. And so you had to say goodbye to a lot of people, and I feel like you had to part ways with a very close friend, potentially lover, and this is where it's coming through, where it feels like it's a male best friend, and you know, connect however you can with that. And when I get this, a lot of times, if you have very deep empathy, sympathy for the gay community, it feels like it could stem from here as well. But this would show, like, you know, if you wanted to be an activist, or if you highly support, or, you know, you rally around that community, that kind of thing, that's the indication this would have. But it feels like you had to part ways, and it also feels like there was, it's very emotional right now. And it feels like it's almost like you guys say, we'll meet again. Huh. And it's like but not in this life. It's very possible that this person is in your life now. And again, genders don't matter. Like, if you know, they could come back male, female, it doesn't really matter. But it feels like you made a pact to see each other again, and it's very likely it's this lifetime, and that's why this is coming up. This would indicate a very emotional connection with someone. So I don't usually get like so emotional, but this is like super hitting me hard. I want to say if there's anyone in your life where you feel like losing them would be like torture, or meeting them was like a reunion. So that's the feeling coming through. So yeah, so this held back card really feels like you were held back in the form of like completing the love cycle with this person, continuing the life that you both kind of envisioned for each other with each other, and it was cut short. So you're back with this, it feels like you're back to complete the cycle. So, and that could be a best friend, it doesn't have to be lover, it could be best friend, you know. So yeah, so keep making connections where you can here. This can also indicate any issues you might have of separation anxiety. If you get anxious or depressed when you're separated from loved ones, and this might also indicate that you just really, your love language might be quality time. Things like that. So keep making connections where you can here, okay? And we're gonna go to the death now. So this is the accident card, and I want to say that I feel like this is unfortunately like you drank yourself to death. You didn't mean to, but it feels like you were depressed, and it feels like that was your numbing agent. So in your current life, the only connection I can imagine would be, or then, you know, and you have to see if this resonates with you, would be if you have addictive qualities, especially with things that might, you know, if you're feeling really upset or so, whatever, if you smoke, if you drink, if you, heck, it could be a healthy addiction. It could be like, oh, you work out when you're upset, you know, like that kind of thing. So if you just notice that when you have an emotional high or low, that you turn to a certain vice, that would just be like a stem from this. This at the same time, this could be, this kind of thing also means like you could be someone who won't touch alcohol, hates alcohol, doesn't like to see alcohol, you know, like that kind of thing, because of what it, the role it played in your life here. So but you know, it has to, obviously, if you connect, it's whether or not you connect with this, but if you are someone that does like turn to something to numb the feelings, so to speak, this would just be a message of reminding you that it's almost like literally what's coming through is just like all in moderation. That's all. Just be aware, and when you're aware, then you're able to moderate. And it's that simple. It's not like, don't you dare. It's just more like, hey, you know, be aware of what you're doing, and just, you know, all in moderation. Yeah, that kind of thing. So keep connecting where you can with that card, and we're going to go to the lesson. This is simplicity, and literally the thing coming through is simplicity is you did it well here. The simplicity was being yourself, being true to yourself. That's literally what this card is representing, is being true to yourself. And I feel like that message is just ringing true and wanting to come through for you in your current life, is just to make sure that the decisions that you're making, the lifestyle you're living, everything, you know, as it's going along, is that you are being true to yourself, that you are being authentic with yourself. You're not allowing other people to pressure you to make choices or decisions or act or behave or react or feel a certain way. No one can tell you what you feel. So be in tune with your feelings and trust that. And I feel like that's really what it comes down to, is just be true to yourself. And yeah, so just keep making connections where you can with this card, Simplicity card. And there's your past life. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you're able to make some connections. And thanks for letting me read you.